HD2 Northport, W265CG Tuscaloosa, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square Media Station. 1 minute to beat Houston for Carolina, touchdown Alabama. Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could put that, you could strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I really respect it, and I learned that system back. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You have a hot ride now.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can also be seen broadcasting live on Martin Houston Live on Facebook and YouTube, as well as at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Also, you can find us on at Tide 109 on Facebook and X's and O Sports on Facebook and social media outlets. All right. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. We got a great show lined up, so I want to invite you to go ahead and prepare to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open. We want to let you know that we'll work in some Nick Saban comments today as we move throughout the program, and want to invite you to give us your thoughts, your comments on what you think are feeling about the Alabama spring practice underway, day 3 in the books, first day in pads, what Nick Saban had to say about that. A lot of action around Alabama football players and what's happening with them in the NFL. So we're going to throw that into a little true false this morning to see what we got going on there. Before we get things going, as we always do, want to remind you that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Ash. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. And X, I said we're going to do a little true false this morning, but other things we're going to talk about is it seems like Nick Saban had a lot to say about the newcomers, or all of the reporters ask about the newcomers. I shouldn't say he just responded to the questions. A lot to say about the newcomers. There was some comments about leadership from Coach Saban, and we'll get that. And I guess as I was listening, there was one question that I was waiting on and never got. I just never heard it come up. No one asked anything about the offensive line. I'm like, when you think about the biggest question to me, one of the biggest questions every spring, but especially this spring, losing, both right tackles. And one of those guys being a guy that has been a 3-year starter, and you're starting left tackle, protecting your most precious commodity. and your best player and Bryce Young, but no one asked a question about that, especially since you're still in the process of hosting a potential transfer. So undoubtedly, still have questions as a program if you're still looking for, possibility of bringing in, another recruit from Vanderbilt. Were you shocked that no one asked any questions about the offensive line yesterday?
Yeah, you would find that shocking due to the issues that the offensive line had last year. As you said, losing both tackles, Owens and Evan Neal, who's in running for the number one pick overall. And as you said, hosting Vanderbilt offensive lineman Tyler Steen is coming up weekend. It is a little shocking that nobody asked that question.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. And we'll get into the Tyler Steen conversation a little deeper when we talk a little recruiting. But I thought that was an interesting, none question that no one did that. Hey, if you were sitting in front of Nick Saban, what question would you ask him?
Uh, it would probably be about the offensive line, honestly. It's good to hear about how Jameer Gibbs is doing. It's good to hear about how Jermaine Burton's doing, and as well as Eli Riggs as far as the transfers go. And of course, a lot of the young freshmen have come in and have been performing well, from Aaron Anderson and Jeremiah Alexander, some of those guys. But the biggest key to making this all work and what really hurt Alabama was the offensive line. So I think I would focus on that just to get an idea of where it's headed.
Yeah, hey Joe, are you able to be with us back with us?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, well, if I mean, I guess kind of to follow up on that, were you shocked that no one asked about the O line, and what question would you ask Nick Saban if you were?
Well, two things. First, the first press conference of the spring was really dominated by the offensive line being asked about both the tackle, the center position, and Kendall Randolph's influence as well. The first press conference had a lot of questions asked about the offensive line. And then the second thing, yesterday, limited time. Both my reporters who went were a little bummed out. They didn't get a chance.
Yeah,
They had their didn't get a chance
it,
to
it,
ask a question. Coach Saban on a tight schedule yesterday. What would I have asked him though? I probably would have asked about the tackle. I'd like to know about Damian George, about Amari Knight. How they're stacking up against J.C. Latham and Tommy Brockemeyer. So I'd probably be asking about them. Or I'm really interested in the inside linebacker position next to Henry Toa this year, whether it's going to be Deontay Lawson, Jalen Moody, or someone else entirely. So probably it would have been my question would have been probably focusing around those two things.
yeah, and it's interesting, because it's almost like once one question was asked yesterday, it's like everybody stayed in that vein. Oh, what about Jamar Gibbs? Oh, what about Burton? Oh, what about Eli Riggs? I'm like, and then it was like, oh, what about versatility? Oh, and I piggyback off of that. What about versatility? So yeah, it was limited, and I'm like you. Yeah, the because there was so much spent on the first day when there really wasn't anything to talk about. That's probably why I would have followed up, because he made, there was so much conversation. So we all probably would have been in there waiting for our chance to talk about that offensive line. And so hopefully we're gonna, get a chance to hear more about the offensive line and what they're able to do. But it's going to be an interesting battle with what's going on there. The question that since you guys asked the O line question, that probably would have been my question too. Uh, But you know what? I would have probably based on his comments, Joe and Xavier. I would have been, what did DJ Dale do this offseason that he hasn't done that catapulted him up into a position that you now perceive him as one of the leaders? And what does that mean on the field? You know, uh, because for me, after our conversation about where we thought the weakness was potentially, how exciting does it get that Nick Saban has looked and said, "Hey, DJ Dale is one of our leaders." How big is that for this team? Considering yesterday our conversation was that we were worried about up the middle being a potential weakness.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, when you look at these Alabama teams, you've always kind of had that defensive lineman that you look at. And yesterday a lot of us were saying Byron Young or maybe somebody else, but to hear that a guy that has been starting for 3 years, he's come back for his fourth year, that he's taken that step to be a leader, whether it's a focal leadership position or just really letting his play speak for him louder, it is a huge thing for Alabama with what we feel like they need to have that defense be better.
Joe, any comments on? I mean, I like I said, that probably wouldn't have been a question I went into the presser with. But when he made that statement, we really hadn't had anyone. But DJ Dale stepped up this offseason.
I mean, it's about time.
Yeah.
Your buddy Lewis likes to call him DJ Fluffy. So I'd love to see him take that leadership role. And I'm sure that he got a lot. He got some run in the national championship game. So it seems like he's taking a lot of that momentum that he got towards the latter half of the year and just carrying it on. So
Yeah.
I think it's great for Alabama's defensive line.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I said DJ Dale had Curtis Lewis has been on DJ Dale, I know, for at least 2 years running, and of course this past year called him DJ Fluffy, maybe for 2 years running. But hey, maybe just maybe that means that he's taking that next step in the weight room as well as in leadership. There was a couple other guys he mentioned in terms of that leadership conversation in his opening comments. We'll have that, and also I'm going to mix in a little true false with some NFL conversation along with some Alabama conversation. So we'll have that on the other side. If you have a question that you would ask, what question would you ask Nick Saban if you were at the presser? A lot of times I hear people complaining about people are afraid to ask Nick Saban questions. Well, if you were in that pressure, what would be your question as we talk on this Thursday morning? Want to invite you to get in on the conversation by posting in chat and or give us a call at 205-342-9904. That's the Taco Casa hotline. We're open for business.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet as we start this Thursday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you're looking for a vehicle, now's the time to visit Townsend Nissan. They're your hometown dealer with an amazing selection, low finance rates, and they need your trade. Go see them at Captain Ray.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
With Taco Casa, it's not really fast food because it's made fresh every day in the store. The quality hasn't changed. The consistency hasn't changed because we haven't changed anything in the food. It's made fresh every morning in every restaurant. I think buzzwords in today's food industry are locally sourced and high quality ingredients. we want to say, that sounds great. We've been doing that since 1974. Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/offer. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/offer. That's ZipRecruiter.com/offer. ZipRecruiter.com/offer.
See American in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less.
Have you heard the buzz about CrowdTap? The place where you can take simple surveys and earn gift cards? Simply by going to crowdtap.com/buzz, you decide how many surveys to answer on your own time and when to redeem your reward points for your favorite gift cards from companies like iTunes, Google Play, Nike, Amazon, and more. Making your opinions work for you has never been easier. The more surveys you take, the more you earn. It's that simple. Go to crowdtap.com/buzz and get started today. That's crowdtap.com/buzz.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's a dry forecast through the weekend. A mixture of clouds and sunshine today, the high 67. For tonight, fair and cool with a low of 42. Tomorrow, partially sunny with a high of 68. And Saturday, a sunny day with a high at 66. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 42 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith at Sockmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sockmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Oh, he has really been very good addition, to our team. He's got great speed. He's really a good receiver, good third down back. He's got great vision. He's got really good burst out of a cut. I'm really, really impressed with what he's been able to do. He's smart. He's picked up things. He's an experienced player. So, he really does a good job of understanding what we're trying to do and how to do it. And that's what experienced players can do. So, he's done a really, really good job.
All right, that's Coach Nick Saban talking about Jamar Gibbs and what he brings to the table. It brings a lot. Everything that I think you're looking for in today's running backs, he seems to bring to the table. So, X, I'll throw a true false out there to you. Jamar Gibbs has a statistical season on par, not necessarily in the same percentages, statistical season on par with what Najee Harris had 2 years ago. True, false?
What was Najee's total yards again?
Right around 2,000, just under 2,000. That's based on us making a run. That's based on us making a run to the national championship game.
That's in 15 games, not 13.
Yeah.
I'll say false. Well, I'll say true. I don't know if he'll hit that number, get as close to that number, but he'll be in the ballpark. If the other running backs aren't back yet.
Joe, your thoughts?
I'll say false just because I think the other running backs will eat into eat into his opportunities a little more than what happened with Najee Harris.
I would agree with if he gets it, it's because he has a chance to get 200 plus more yards statistically on a per game average. I would say false. The follow up to that for you two, because you kind of alluded to it. Let's play what Nick Saban said about the running back room, and I'll follow up with another question.
Doing great. They're in black jerseys. They're both practicing non-contact. You know, Jace is a little ahead of Roydell because he got hurt a month earlier, but they're both doing fine. And I'm pleased with the running back, situation. We've got some experience there, and Jamarian Miller shows some promise as a young player. So Trey Sanders is doing good. So I don't know that that's not an issue on our team at all. So we got lots of good players there, and we'll have plenty of depth when the other guys get back.
Okay, first of all, Drew, were you surprised by the response that he threw in right there at the end? That's not an issue on this team.
No, because I'll say no because the simple fact that we've seen Roydell be good, be serviceable. We've seen Jace be good, be serviceable. Same with Trey. You have Miller coming in. Not 100% sure what position Emmanuel Henderson will be playing when he gets on campus, but if it is running back, that's more depth there. So as far as those two guys coming back healthy, along with the other three guys, I don't see an issue with depth.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, just like Xavier said, I think we're looking at a bit different depth going into the 2022 season than we were in 21. Remember in 21 we lost Kyle Edwards and Keelan Robinson.
Yeah.
Gosh, it was a third. We lost several running backs ahead of the season. Now you obviously have to deal with the transfer portal after spring practice, but for where we sit at the moment, currently, you got a lot of healthy, a lot of quality bodies in that running back room.
And I asked both of you guys. The only reason I say I'm surprised by that was I didn't expect those guys to be even in black jerseys at this point. I literally expected, those guys to be kind of just on the team, and so I would have.
I'm shocked Roydell is.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Roydell is been Jace got hurt at the beginning of October.
Yeah. So, but I really didn't think that they would even be out there. So to me, it's not a shock now that they're out there, but the fact that they're in black jerseys and it sounds like not only they're in black jerseys, it sounds like they're like participating. They're just not contact. And of course, him saying Jace coming along. So with that said, I don't know that we have the Jamar Gibbs could be a superstar. To me, when you look at it, do you see a Trent Richardson? Do you see a Najee Harris? Do you see a Derrick Henry, a bell cow guy? I don't.
No.
But could collectively, if Jace is healthy, if Rodell is healthy, if Trey steps up and Jamar keeps living up to it, as a unit, could this be as good a backfield as Nick Saban's had, especially with Bryce Young at quarterback?
Yes. When you look at the running back rooms over the years, of course, people forget about the Glenn Coffey Mark Ingram combo, but then you see the Ingram Richardson, Lacey, Yeldon, those types of running back rooms. But when you look at what probably Bama's best running back room, just off of where they ended, is probably the 2017. You're talking about Damian Harris, Najee Harris, Bo Scarborough, Josh Jacobs, and Brian Robinson. And you're looking at 2 first-round draft picks, a third-round draft pick, a guy that's about to get drafted, and Bo Scarborough has been able to stay in the league despite injury issues. So yeah, when you look at that room compared to this room, I think you can see a similar type season because Jahmyr Gibbs is not built to be the bell cow. He's not these former 225 to 250 pound running backs Alabama has had be the bell cow. But with all these other guys and what they can do and how their game is just a little bit different from each other, I think you can have that type of success.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, let's go ahead and get the break here. Talk a little recruiting, then we'll do a little more true false and wrap up today's show. Listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Of course, Joe. One of the things that we do, being Alabama, being a national brand, and of course, Tide 109 being the home of Alabama sports, we get all types of fans and we got a Georgia fan that listens to our show every morning. And earlier we had asked a question. What would you ask Coach Saban? And of course, Blind Squirrel Sports. A Georgia fan says, Coach Saban, you've been in the coaching profession for many years now. Don't you hear that golf course calling your name? It's saying, Nick, retire, buddy. You're already the GOAT. So, in a blind squirrel, you would get a look. I don't know I don't know if you would be able to come out from under that rock Nick Saban would put you under. But that's just a Georgia fan that tunes in to Bama sports that has a good time there. But anyway, hey, if you want to list what your question would be, you want a true false question to ask Joe or Xavier, you can post that or give us a call at 205-342-9904. Alabama 1 is where you need to go if you're looking to get a consumer loan, a signature loan, or a mortgage or an auto loan. All of those great products are available at Alabama 1, as well as we have a great business commercial lending department as well. If you're out there and you're looking to make some upgrades, renovations, or innovations to your business, we love to help you. That's Alabama 1, alabama1.org. And while you're there, check out our great promotions as well, alabama1.org. You can find all that great information and more. Alabama 1 together.
100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet as we start this Thursday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you're looking for a vehicle, now's the time to visit Townsend Nissan, their hometown dealer with an amazing selection, low finance rates, and they need your trade. Go see them at Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Jam, rock and roll at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos and win your share of $75,000 this fall. Every Friday and Saturday, we're giving away $1,100 in bonus bet every hour from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. Then at 11 p.m., 2 lucky winners will each receive $2,500 cash. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
The Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama works every day to make Tuscaloosa County and West Alabama a great place to live, work, play, and visit. To build on our momentum and also address our challenges, the Chamber is hosting a series of educational seminars on some of the most pressing issues in our community. So please come listen, learn, and participate with local leaders to help take this community to the next level. The Next Level series is taking place each Wednesday from 3:30 to 5 p.m. at the C.A. Fred campus of Shelton State Community College, located at 340 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. These conversations are open to the public, so please come listen, learn, and participate with local leaders to help take this community to the next level. For more information, please visit westalabamachamber.com.
Join West Alabama leaders to learn more about quality of life, cultural arts, and recreation. 3:30 to 5:30 at C.A. Fred campus of Shelton State.
Want your biggest possible tax refund this year? Jackson Hewitt and Walmart have an offer you won't want to miss. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will prepare your federal returns for as little as $59 and no more than $179. Tax is done where you shop. Your biggest federal refund guaranteed for no more than $179. Stop by Jackson Hewitt in any participating Walmart store today because this offer won't last. Terms apply.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
No, I mean, look, some guys have the ability to do that, but we have criteria that we're looking for at every position. You know, sometimes you rarely find a guy that, you know, can play more than one position. So, you try to give him the best opportunity to play, you know, where he has a chance to play. That doesn't work out. You might try him and see if he has a better chance to develop a career at another position, but, it's always nice to have guys that can play multiple positions, but when they're freshmen, you have to put them in one place and teach them how to play one position because it's too overwhelming for them to try to play multiple positions when they're young. So, and every player is different when it comes to how they develop. And I think the most important thing is the young players focus on development. They don't worry so much about what team they're on and who's in front of them and who's behind them, but they just control what they can control and focus on their development.
Oh wow. Nick Saban started hitting the podium. That must be a sore spot. You can always tell what bothers him, whether it's because you asked the question or because he's dealing with that within his staff or with the players themselves. I don't know which one, but definitely Nick Saban slapping the podium when asked about versatility in recruiting. And you have to teach the young players one position so they can focus on development. Well, focusing on development, right now Nick Saban is also focusing on recruiting. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the program. Nick Saban, Alabama, hosting a young man from Vanderbilt, Mr. Tyler Steen, offensive line transfer. This is his first official visit. Will it be his only official visit? Does Alabama offer Mr. Tyler Steen an opportunity to join the Crimson Tide? And does is this his only visit?
I'm not sure if it'll be his only visit, just for the simple fact it's second recruiting. So maybe he'll want to visit other places just to see. But I do think Alabama will at least extend him an opportunity to come play. So we'll just have to see if it's what's best for him.
Excuse me, Joe. You have any comments on that?
Oh, I think if he's in high demand, he's probably going to go to several different places. If you come in Alabama, you got to assume that he's in high demand. So yeah, I have a hard time bringing in an offensive lineman in the middle of spring practice, especially while you're working out guys at certain positions. So I guess if they do that you can assume that what they're seeing in practice is not quite good enough. So it'll be interesting to see if they bring him into the fold or not.
I'll let both of you guys comment on this quickly, and then we'll get to Pat. Is this Nick Saban? Because you think about the timing of this visit, guys. There's been opportunities and conversations since before signing day, and he just happens to come in the weekend of the first real like you had 2 days. You would have had 2 days of practice. You'll have that first scrimmage technically on Saturday, and there just happens to be a guy on the sideline that has started. A lot of people look at this SEC thing and talking about, oh, he's Vanderbilt. Excuse me. Him playing at Vanderbilt actually may make him a better tackle than if he had been somewhere else. Because if he's in demand and he's coming from Vanderbilt, he's had to go against the best with not necessarily a lot of help. So, uh, uh, is this Nick Saban's timing of this visit to possibly get a good player, but also light a fire underneath the guys that's competing for that those tackle positions?
Nick Saban is a genius when it comes to finding ways to motivate his team and bring out the best in them. That's why he's considered the greatest of all time. So whether he really wants Sting here or not, which I think he does, it at least shows those guys out there competing. Hey, if you're not on your A game every day, I will bring somebody in to play in your spot.
Yeah, Joe, you get any comments before we get to Pat?
I think it's just Coach Saban always hitting those buttons to start those guys motivated.
I would, like I said, I would not put it past Coach Saban at all. I don't know if it's strictly timing or not, but it's definitely interesting that he comes on the first Saturday the first big weekend of spring practice. As Saban said yesterday was the first day of practice. Pads. Tomorrow, which is today, they'll put in all of their install more offense and stuff so they can run a few more plays. Tomorrow they'll have a big practice, and then a big practice on Saturday as well. Usually that first scrimmage of the spring. So timing or not, we'll see. Pat, thanks for your patience. You're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Since our man's not showing up today, Hank, bless his heart, but we've got the Xavier there that I think is staying on top of recruiting maybe as much as I am, maybe more. Want to talk about running backs. And this question is for Xavier. True false? Xavier, does coach go into Florida to bring in our next 2023 running back? And does he come out of these three names? Young, Baxter, and Fletcher out of Florida.
I would love to have one of those three guys coming to Alabama in the 2023 class. Now, is it for certain going to be one of those three? I'm not sure because there's a couple guys out of Texas that are pretty big names that Alabama's been recruiting heavy as well. But I do like our chances with it's Fletcher that goes to American Heritage and just our connection throughout the years with American Heritage. So I can see I know the running back room looks crowded right now, but when you look at the fact that four of these guys are juniors and then you have two freshmen, a lot opens up over the next year to 2 years.
Exactly. And there's a kid named Jackson out of Louisiana, and there's several running backs that's visited out of Texas. One I think I mentioned Caleb Hicks or Ricks out of Texas. That man, his film is phenomenal. Yeah, and he's special. But I really like the fact being able to get one of these 6'1" or better running backs that could potentially still grow a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what Alabama has as far as what I would consider the future and the two freshmen, Miller and Henderson aren't. Henderson's about 6'1", 6'2", but he's a little bit of a slight build, and Miller's about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", about 205. So yeah, I mean, Bama's always had at least one bigger back on the team, if not two. So that's why I really like Fletcher out of American Heritage due to his size. He's the biggest of the bunch at about 6'2", about 225 already.
Yes, sir. But hey, get him with a good weight program. They'll train what the young man can turn into a beast. All right. Anyway, thought you would agree. Hey, have a blessed day, Xavier. Thank you for what you're working on, buddy. Bye bye.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Pat. Well, hey, listen, talking about running backs and IMG, hey, interesting conversation. I don't know if you guys, this is a sidebar. Northridge head coach has moved to another opportunity, and they're looking for a couple of guys. I'm not going to say who specifically they are. One guy local to replace him at Northridge, and one guy potentially from IMG. So,
really,
yeah. So we'll follow that story, and if we get any news, Joe, we'll break it on Tide 109 first. So you and I can talk a little bit off air if you want to about that. But yeah, Northridge has made a change, or the coach, he left and got another gig. But Northridge is in the hunt for a head coach after two back-to-back seasons with to the playoffs and several players that have received offers from SEC schools on the team. TJ Banks, which I think has a potential to be a 4.5, 5-star guy type of guy. They got Wilkins at left tackle that has gotten offers from just about everyone. And when Saban starts visiting your school, you probably got a couple talented guys. So that's kind of what's happening over at Northridge. Real quick on the recruiting front, from a quarterback standpoint, Tennessee making big news at the beginning of the week with 5-star Nicholas Leva committing to them. How big a news or a shock was that to you, X?
I mean, from what I've seen, what I've been reading, Tennessee was the favorite before his top 5 came out. I'm just kind of surprised we got the top 5 and then he commits within a week. That's what was kind of shocking to me. But as far as him going to Tennessee, I had heard that they were his favorite and not surprised about that move at all.
Yeah, and and Heupel, Josh showed that they will do some things offensively that will help a young quarterback be successful. So, You know, Joe, and this is a question for you, Joe, and X, you can comment. Joe, has the college game changed enough that it is about the quarterback position if you want to be a contender the way it is in the NFL? Has it changed that enough that that's the case now?
100% in my opinion. I got a Tennessee buddy who's been crying for 10 years about trying to get the balls back. And I said, well, the first step is recruiting a quarterback. You have to recruit a quarterback. And so Josh Heupel getting this guy, Nicholas Imaleva, I think it's going to be it makes perfect sense for Heupel. It makes great sense for the kid. I think the question I have for you, Martin, is if you're going to pay a young man upwards of $8 million and you consider where your program has been for the last 20 years, what is an adequate return on investment? Because if that's Alabama, you're thinking national championship, but this is Tennessee we're talking about. Is $8 million? Are you looking to get back to an SEC title game? Are you what would you consider a successful ROI on your $8 million investment?
What $8 million investment, Joe, that you referring to?
You haven't heard that?
I'm just.
I was about to say.
I mean, wow, right? And that's why I asked that question, guys. Is has the college game changed so much that you're willing to go out, because that's what they do in the pros, right? They go get, when they do something like this, they're getting a guy that they think can get them to the Super Bowl. They're not getting it to get to a conference championship. They're not getting it to just get to the Super Bowl. They're getting it to win the Super Bowl, right? And Joe, I guess what he gets next be kind of comes. What else does Tennessee get with this? Is this guy good enough to bring in more talent? Are there some wide receivers out there now looking and going, okay, we can go here because this guy's a 3-year guy, right? Can we go there with him and can we get there? Joe, I would hope that if you're doing that you're doing it to get to the national championship, and at a minimum that you become relevant to no, no, you do that type of commitment. That's a Final Four playoff. You got to at least before he leaves get to the playoffs. And do you think that Tennessee showed enough last year, guys, to make you think that in 3 years they could get there?
I mean, their quarterback play last year was actually phenomenal. Once they went with Hendon Hooker for the year, I think he had 31 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So as far as looking at that, Heupel has done fairly well developing quarterbacks. I can see why Nico chose to go there, where he has pretty much, once Hendon Hooker leaves this year, a clear shot at the job if he comes in and just plays at the level he should be playing at as a true freshman. So now, as you said, can other weapons come in? Wide receiver, running backs, offensive lineman. But also the key part is he big enough of a piece that he can help get you defensive guys as well.
Yeah, great question. And they played us close. They played us tight. They played Georgia good for a half. Maybe maybe they're not as far off as we think, but we'll see. Of course, Arch Manning has said that he's going to revisit Alabama and Texas. So is it down between those two? And then we'll get the break here.
What do you think, real quick? It probably is down to those two for Arch. Well, what do you think about Eli Holston decommitting from Texas A&M?
I had not seen that. So
Eli Holston decommitted from Texas A&M and planning on coming back.
Well, and what's his name has said that's the one to watch. That's what Hank has been telling us, that Eli Holston was the guy to watch. So we'll keep our eyes on that. So, hey, let's go ahead and get the break here. We got George from Macon. George, you'll bring us out of the break on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with X's and O's, Xavier Houston, right here on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet as we start this Thursday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If you're looking for a vehicle, now's the time to visit Townsend Nissan, their hometown dealer with an amazing selection, low finance rates, and they need your trade. Go see them at Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning, the damaging storm south of Moundville on Tuesday night and scattered across West Alabama with some straight line winds, not a tornado. Survey crews from the National Weather Service in Birmingham found the damage not consistent with blisters, but straight line winds of 70 to 75 miles per hour. Tuesday night storms marked the fifth time Hale County's been hit by severe weather over the last 3 years. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. Don Hartley, Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
This spring, we're feeling bold new colors and a natural glow. Find it all during 21 Days of Beauty happening now at Ulta Beauty. Discover daily beauty steals at 50% off the must-haves from brands like Anastasia Beverly Hills and Tarte. And discover the hottest new arrivals like, drumroll please, Fenty Beauty. Now at Ulta Beauty. Beauty's biggest event ends April 2nd. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Power Penny Days are back just in time for spring at JCPenney, and a new season brings spectacular savings. Stock up on essentials for your wardrobe and your home through Sunday. Power Penny Days are back.
COVID-19 has disrupted our lives, but it won't have the last word. We will. Across Alabama, thousands are getting vaccinated to protect themselves and others. Find out where you can get the COVID vaccine today at alabamaunites.com. Please get vaccinated. If you have symptoms, also get tested for COVID-19. Alabama Unites Against COVID. Sponsored by the ADPH, the ABA, and this station.
See America in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Hey, we got X's and O's, Xavier Houston in with us today. X, tell our listeners where they can follow you and find you, sir.
Yes, sir. You can follow me and find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all at XNO Sports, as well as YouTube and podcasting. And as a heads up, I will be doing a podcast with Eddie Hall this weekend. He is the head coach of the Alabama Empire, a semi-pro football team that is having their first, I think, Arena League, having their first season starting in a few weeks.
That's awesome. All right. Let's go to George from Macon. You're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Yeah, I was just thinking, remember 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe longer than that, because of head injuries and that sort of thing, a lot of your experts or people were talking about how football is going to decrease in popularity because there won't be the players there, because the mamas and the papas won't let their sons play football because of the threat of injury. Well, I live in Middle Georgia, and high school football is thriving. And I just didn't know if it was just this area, or have you seen a dip in player participation of what they were talking about 5, 6 years ago of being a demise of football because of fewer players?
Well, I think there's been a dramatic drop in younger kids, and I think you may see a drop in the quality of the way football is played, and that's what I think is the impact. I don't think the numbers you'll see from the high school level, but you can't learn to play tackle football unless you tackle. And that's what I think now. Has the game adjusted? I think part of the way they call games and they call personal fouls and all of that has changed some of the physicality of football. Um, uh, so it doesn't require you to be as physical as it was when I played the game. So I think that's where you've seen the impact of the concussion thing. Not so much in numbers at the high school level um, and beyond, but you do if you go out to little league, it's a little harder because they're either playing flag football or whatever. So
Yeah, and I'll say this as someone, I have a son who's about to be 3. I've told my wife, and just because I want to keep him safe earlier, he probably won't. He'll play flag until probably around 5th or 6th grade, if that's what he wants to do, and then probably at least 6th grade he'll do pass going into high school to get a familiarity with the going into middle school to get a familiarity with the game.
And for me, George, I don't think 4 and 5 year olds, I mean 4th and 5th graders hit hard enough to give concussions anyway. But I, I think football became the scapegoat for CTE and concussions. My daughter got more. Youngest daughter got more concussions than my sons did, and she played basketball.
Play soccer.
She,
Okay.
I mean,
I'll say this, Martin, and of course I'm older than y'all are. And when I played football, especially, in high school, I had a couple of assistant coaches that played at Alabama. And practices, they tried, they made it like Junction City, which I thought was a little bit overboard, but back in that time, that's the way it was done. And when I think parents saw those type practices and the way the players were kind of treated, they didn't understand that that's just the way it was. They didn't like the way attitude of the coaches, treating the players like they were treated, and I think that that had more to do with fewer people playing. But I think that the style and the positive attitudes and that sort of thing has changed a little bit to turn that around.
I can see how that would have impacted things and sort of what the numbers have played out to be. But we appreciate that, George. Thanks for bringing that topic up. We appreciate you, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yep.
Thanks for my call.
Absolutely. And like I said, my Morgan probably had more concussions than Xavier and Simeon combined. And she played basketball. Yeah. So, and that it is what it is. CTE is real, but it's probably more widespread than we think. But they only check it if you pass away. So, how many people pass away from CTE from other sports that they don't ever check? So who knows? Anyway, football is here. We'll be back here to talk about it on tomorrow. Thanks, X. Have a great day. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters to be a part of the show. Thanks, Joe, for all that you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, right here on your home for Alabama sports. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not in your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
Have a good one, Joe.
On the Tide 100.9 app.